All right. Well, greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'd like to welcome you to Nehemiah eCommunity's uh, e-seminar. We have these once a month on the second Tuesdays, 7 a.m. Pacific time. Today's seminar topic is developing a marketing and sales plan. So we're going to have Patrice will be presenting it as pre-recorded. He had another engagement he had to go to, but I will be giving you the introduction and bringing you up to speed and connecting with you as you join and join us today. So let's go ahead and open in prayer. Father, thank you for this time. Thank you for this opportunity to reach out into our community and to be able to encourage those as they're processing through each stage of their business plan. Father, I just pray that this series is a good timing for them as some of them may be working on either creating their marketing and sales plan or revising, and maybe it's not working. Father, I just pray for your spirit and wisdom to guide us and to be able to speak truth to those that need encouragement along these lines. And just pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So our agenda today is we'll welcome and introduction. We'll cover developing a marketing and sales plan, and then we'll talk about the next steps. So, but first I want to talk about Patrice, who's going to be presenting today. He's a business trainer, entrepreneur, international speaker, preacher, author, business coach. He's also our chief servant officer of Nehemiah Community, co-founder of both Nehemiah Project International Ministries, which is now Nehemiah Entrepreneurship Community, and our Kingdom Business Coaching. He's trained over and coached over 7,000 individuals on how to build their business on biblical principles. So, and he's authored several books and serves on several boards. So you can see the 40-day coaching guide, Nothing But a Jar of Oil, Visualizing Your Business Success Strategy, Biblical Entrepreneurship, BE Essentials, a great book. If you want to go really in depth into biblical principles, this is a good one. And then the buck stops with you. In addition, we have our new book, The Business Life Cycle. We have that one now. It's finally, I believe it's published now and available. It's always been available as a virtual or an ebook, so as needed there. So a little bit of background about Nehemiah. Nehemiah Entrepreneurship Community, or e-community, is a membership, business training, and support platform for startup and small to medium-sized enterprises who desire to build transformational companies within a shared global community. So our services are available online and through physical centers. Speaking of physical centers, we have 11 across the world. In the Northwest, Portland, Vancouver area, Mexico City, Orlando, which we were just at Orlando last week for our best practice tour and conference. We had a great turnout there. It was a great time to be able to do connect with live and in person. This is one of the few ones that we do live and in person, and want to encourage you to be a part of that. This next year is going to be in Malaysia. And then also a brief trip over to Singapore. It's going to be an exciting time. So those that you're on that were not inside the U.S., it's going to be a little bit easier for you to get to. So we're excited about that. Be thinking about that now. If you have questions, please ask me or any of our staff about that, and get ready for that. So we also have a center in Haiti and Puerto Rico, Penang, Malaysia, Paris, France, Cameroon, Congo, and then a couple in Kenya. And so we're excited to have opportunities there so that you can actually have someone in person that you can connect with in these areas. So our mission, we were established in 1999 at Nehemiah Entrepreneurship Community, a 501c3, a nonprofit organization. Our mission is building kingdom businesses globally through local entrepreneurship community centers. Our goal is to create a community of kingdom business stewards that provide products and services in a God-honoring way that contribute to the fulfilling of the Great Commission. So we're here to help transform the marketplace. And we're going to do that one entrepreneur at a time. Our global impact, as you can see, all the reddish areas, we've been around, and about 11 centers operating in 8 countries, 82 countries served, over 22,000 entrepreneurs trained and coached. And then we've, through our Kingdom investment community, we've invested $3.1 million into businesses. And part of our journey, how do you join with us? How do you partner with us through the community? Well, here's our little journey map. You start out in our social community. Some of you may have heard this, found us on Facebook or LinkedIn or a friend or some meeting. We want to make sure that that you're able to connect with us on our community that we have. I believe we've broken the 5,000 mark on there. So we have either nearly or just over 5,000 in our community worldwide. So our social map starts out social community. You can join through become a free bronze member, or in our paid communities, there's other benefits, silver, diamond, gold, that give you other opportunities. So looking at our membership, we, as I mentioned again, we have bronze, silver, gold, and diamond levels. Diamond levels, your best bet because you get coaching along with that. And our coaching and training is the next layer of our journey map, that you can learn biblical principles from our biblical entrepreneurship course. If you're concerned about aligning your business with your calling, if you're not sure what your calling is, we have identity and destiny, finding your God-given sweet spot, that really helps bring clarity to that. Even if you have an idea what it is, to have that clarity so that you're ready to put it into your business plan or integrate it into a plan that you already have. We also provide coaching along the way to help you see what are your blind spots. How do I implement all this training that I have? How do I put all that together? And how do I stay on track? Maybe I get a little distracted, and everyone needs a coach now and then so that we can help keep on track, keep some accountability, and guide us to, or come alongside us to help guide us through decisions and things, so that you can think with clarity and move forward. But we also offer business support. You need help with the website, or you need help putting together plans or marketing, which we're going to talk about today. Our business support services are there to help guide you through that. Also, many businesses need access to capital. And so when you go through our biblical entrepreneurship training program, you finish that, then through that path, then you have opportunity to pitch your plan to our Kingdom Investment Network, and have opportunity to gain some capital through there. And then finally, our Kingdom Impact. This is what it's all about. Why do I do, what's our why? It's because we want to impact the kingdom. We want to transform lives. We want to have opportunity for the gospel to be out there. We want people to see examples of what is a kingdom business. Can Christians do business? Some people may even ask that. Some people think business is kind of a necessary evil or something. Without it, how do you fund the church? How do you fund yourself? How do you, feed your family? We show you ways and examples, such as our business best practice and tour and conference. We went to about 5 different kingdom businesses that are doing it right. And we show you how to do that. And so you too can have a kingdom impact through your business. So what I would like to do is get a little bit of feedback. Where are we from here? It looks like we got a few people with us today. Quite a list there. I missed a few here. We have someone from Tampa, Florida, Sharina George. Welcome. Okay, Sharina, I met you in Florida. Excited to have you here today. And from Nashville, Tennessee, Weston. Welcome, Weston, from Nashville, Tennessee. Anne from Edmonton, Canada, Alberta. Very cool. And let's see. And we have Ghislaine. Ghislaine is coming to us from Cameroon, Africa. And then there's some more. Oh, okay. Bonjour from Madagascar. Someone from Madagascar. And I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name. It's a pretty long one. So welcome. Glad you can join us today. Another Nelly from Kinshasa, Congo. Let's see who else we got. Ivory Coast. Oliver from Ivory Coast. Very excited to have you here today. Let's see. Another Canadian from Toronto. Gabriel from Toronto. And then another gentleman, Beatty. Am I saying that correct? From Haiti. All right. And Bill Manduka, one of our new coaches in training. He's from Portland. And let's see. Dan from Wisconsin, welcome. Glad you could join us today. And another person from Madagascar. I don't think we've had people from Madagascar lately, and so it's good to see you back and joining us today. Winnie from Nairobi. All right. Joseph, Madagascar. That's exciting. Eric from Kenya. All right. And my friend Al Dobra. Al, welcome. Glad you can join us today. He's in Eugene, Oregon. So thank you for joining us today. What an exciting time that we have. Stephanie from Boston. Good. Well, good to have you here today. Let's see. All right. And let me share a little bit about the business life cycle. This is what we've realized is this is pretty foundational to what we do, not only in best practices for any business, but for Kingdom businesses. We need to make sure that we have a good plan, that we're following along, and realize that we have to think and act differently at each stage. And so what better place to start than at discovery is when you have an idea, or maybe you have several ideas. I've talked with many ones that, I got about 3 business ideas and I'm not sure which one to do. And I kind of want to do all of them. And I tend to encourage people, try to do one at a time, at least when you're putting things together. But the discovery stage, it's an exciting stage. It's kind of your honeymoon stage. You're just kind of working things out. You're trying to do proof of concept, do things work, and testing all those things out. But you want to make sure that as you're processing through that you've got everything in place. That do I have enough money to start the business? Can I finance it myself? Do I need to borrow in order to do that? And usually you try to do your own financing because you have better control over it. And again, proof of concept, test it out, get a coach through that. Coach is available, and discovery stage is an exciting stage, and we have an amazing business life cycle course that I recommend everyone to take. And I'll share more about it at the end of this class. But it will give you an awesome checklist to walk you through each stage so that you can make sure you don't skip a stage. So that's discovery. Startup, you've made your first dollar. You're not profitable, but you've made your first dollar. You started up. Your business has been registered and everything, and you're coming through. And you're probably very nervous, and you're trying to make sure is this gonna succeed? But at startup stage, you're still funding it yourself or through other outside funds. It's not sustainable, but you're working towards that process. You're getting the right people on board, and so you can already see there's a different mindset that has to go in when you're at the startup level. You got to make sure that you do not run out of money. I've heard the term DROOM, don't run out of money. Make sure that your collections and your payments, are timed well enough. You can have a profitable business, but still go out of business if you don't collect, if you don't actually realize your revenue. And so startup is a fun stage, and it takes a lot of work. You're really deep into working on the business or in the business. And so if you're looking for that freedom, That freedom is not there yet. And even at break even's another stage. Now you have to think about, okay, am I paying myself as an owner? You can't say, okay, I broke even, but and I'll pay myself later. Now, in order for it to really be break even, you need to have all of your expenses paid from the business. And at that point, you don't really have a lot left over, if any, but you need to make sure you're paying yourself a salary, so that, because it's going to be important later, because if you want to be able to, either exit or be able to have extra margin in your business, someone has to replace you. At least some of the work that you're doing, because you're going to find out as an entrepreneur, you probably have at least 5 hats that along this journey, you're going to want to start turning over pieces of that work. If you don't, you're just going to be just a really busy employee. You want to go from being an employee to being an owner. So that's break even. Break even is when what you're paying out and your costs and what you're bringing in is breaking even, so that you have enough to pay all your bills. And then at that point, you're no longer really relying on your own capital or other investors' capital. Your business is moving. So now we get to profitability. Profitability is not your end all. It's not your sweet spot. A lot of people think it is, but it's really a trap. You're still working in the business. You got to be there, so involved that if you step out, your business profits or whatever, your business may go down, and you don't want to stay there because you're trapped in it. I'm working with a gentleman at an auto parts store, and he has the exact problem. And part of the process of going from profitability to the next stage is, do you have the right people in place? Do you have, Jesus had 12 people that he trained up. He diversified. And so the same kind of thing, we wouldn't necessarily need 12, but, we do need to have at least one or more that we're pouring into to be able to take on more responsibility. So build those systems, write things down, SOPs, policies, standard procedures, all this kinds of stuff that you need to be developing along the way to get you to that point. Extremely important. And so you get to profitability, you think, okay, I got it made, we're making enough money. Don't make the mistake that we made. We got excited and decided to scale before we hit sustainability. If you skip steps, it's like skipping steps or rungs on a ladder, you could fall off. And we fell all the way back to startup. And so you want to make sure that you do that, do each stage and tick every box. And we have this amazing spreadsheet that comes with the business lifecycle course to help you get through every stage. Get a coach to help keep you accountable and walk through what does that mean at each stage, and you'll see success. And that's why we talk about, increasing your success by 50% if you go through our business lifecycle course and follow the steps, because we help you tick all those boxes. So finally, you're profitable. If you're profitable consistently for a year, then you're likely in profitability. But we like to really say that if you've hit 2 years in a row and you're profitable, definitely profitable. So now, next stage is sustainability. This is the sweet spot. This is where you're able to go from working in the business to working on the business. You get to be go from being like an employee to a kind of owner level. Now we know that God owns the business. As a kingdom business, God is the owner, but we're the chief steward. And that's why Patrice calls himself the chief servant officer, not the CEO. And so he understands that. But as the chief servant officer, you want to be able to have that extra margin. And this is what we're hopefully going for, is that we have more time for our family, more time to worship, more time to do other traditional ministry. We're looking for that kind of margin so that we can do what we want to do. And with that, hopefully most of us want to do more impact for the kingdom. So that's sustainability. That's your sweet spot. And the next stage is not necessarily for everybody. Not everyone's called to scale. I think back to the McDonald's brothers. I don't know if you ever watched the movie called The Founders, and they started out. They had an amazing plan for efficiency inside a restaurant and how to do things quickly, and they had great systems internally, but they did not know how to scale. They tried and failed until another gentleman came along, and he kind of stole the idea and everything out from under him. But you can learn a lot from this movie. And scalability is not something you do lightly. You have to have all your systems in place, tested, tried. You have to have the right people in place. If you don't have the right people in place, with proper integrity, proper training, all those kinds of things, you're not going to be able to scale adequately. So then from there, our final stage here is succession and exit. As a kingdom business, we have a quadruple bottom line: people, profit, planet, and eternity. We're wanting to have an impact for eternity. And we'd like to see kingdom businesses last 3 generations. It's typically a goal. It doesn't always work out that way, and that's fine. Every business has its calling. But you created an entity with the mission and vision with the kingdom in mind. And wouldn't it be nice to see it go more than 1 or 2 generations? Even if it's not a family member, you have employees and staff, or even some other third-party partners that is you're working with them and instilling these values in, that hopefully that mission and vision will carry up to 3 generations. And so this is a process that we're well versed at. Patrice is an expert at succession and exit, and has many good success stories on bringing people through that, where they're able to either sell the business and make a good profit, or to be able to pass on to their family members or even a third party. But how to do that in a way that you don't just stop and then the whole business breaks. You want to be able to have that smooth transition into the next stage of your life, which many times, the business life cycle, we used to have it as a straight line. It's a circle, because many entrepreneurs are serial entrepreneurs, and they're just going through this. Some are going through it multiple times at the same time. So it's kind of the cycle of life of an entrepreneur is to keep going. So this is our Nehemiah Business Life Cycle, and it's a series of stages that Nehemiah business coaches can help entrepreneurs successfully navigate a business from conception until exit. So we want you to know that. And without further ado, I'm going to have Patrice take it from here, and he will share with you marketing and sales for growth. So let's hear from Patrice.
So let's talk about marketing and sales for growth. 2 Corinthians 9:6 says this, but this I say, he who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and he who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. I love this passage. Now, the Apostle Paul, those of you know your Bible, by the way, this is biblical entrepreneurship. This is not bait and switch. You signed up for biblical entrepreneurship. It means business based on the Bible. I mean, we mean that literally. And sometimes we say, wow, the Bible in business. Yeah, this is biblical entrepreneurship. So the Apostle Paul was using, and by the way, at that time, there were a agriculture, farming, that was the driving force of the economy, of the industries. And he was using an agricultural analogy to inspire the believers to be more generous, right? That's the context of this particular passage. He who sows or who he gives sparingly will also reap or receive sparingly. He who sows or bountifully or give bountifully also reap or receive bountifully. That's the literal translation. So he was using a farming analogy to inspire the believer in Corinth about the importance of giving. Well, I'm going to borrow that analogy because the farm is the marketplace. I'm going to take it back to the marketplace. Except instead of applying it to farming, I want to apply it to marketing and sales. All right. I want to restate it this way. He who markets or sows sparingly will also reap or sell sparingly. He who markets or sows bountifully will also reap or sell bountifully. In other words, friends, I'm inspired by the Apostle Paul. I want to say to you that the key to sales is marketing. And if you don't have a marketing system that enables you to touch the right kind of people and to touch them as far and as wide as you can, you're going to struggle with sales. And if you don't like to sell, as most people don't, you want to be good at marketing, because the more effective your marketing, the easier your sell. And you can't have effective sales without effective marketing. And we want to look at marketing as sowing. It takes the bite out of it. So let's talk about it. Let's understand marketing and sales. So sowing or marketing is the process of planting seeds to prepare for future growth. Marketing is all about the future, right? You don't market because you need business right now. You market because you are sowing like a farmer, anticipating that a time will come that a reaping would occur. The problem with entrepreneurs is that they start thinking marketing when they have a need. No, marketing, as soon as you launch the business, even before you launch the business, you have to start marketing. If you are in discovery and you're considering business, as long as you know what your product and service is going to be, begin to market. Start sowing right now. Start sowing right now. One of my favorite marketing books is a book called Content Inc. Content Inc. And Content Inc. builds the premise that before you start thinking about monetizing content, if you are in the content producing business, first build a list, first market. In other words, first market, spend months and years building a list, build a list without selling them anything. And then so that when then you have a huge list or you've marketed well, you have a lot of people on your list in your community that you've gotten there because you love on them, you serve them, you nurture them. Now you're ready to monetize. Marketing from a kingdom perspective requires patience. That means you got to identify markets, you got to develop tools consistent with your values. You've got to communicate to a specific target market. There's a lot into it. But this is a seminar, not a course. Let's talk about sales. Sales is gathering the ripe harvest generated from planted seeds. In other words, you've marketed, you've been loving on people, you've been sowing, you've been giving, you've been generous, right? If you're not generous, you're not going to be effective marketing, or you're going to manipulate your customers. You're going to manipulate your prospects. You can do that too. You're going to just throw money at it. That's not kingdom marketing. Kingdom marketing is a relationship marketing. It's that you're sowing, and then the time comes for you to reap. Reaping is that you're now gathering the ripe harvest from planting seed. That means you're turning potential customers into actual clients. You're exchanging goods and services for money. You're making the ask. So marketing and sales is the discipline. Yes, it is a discipline. It's the discipline, because it got to be done systematically, of planting seeds in a targeted market to generate a harvest. Right? That's kingdom marketing and sales. Planting seeds in a targeted market to generate a harvest. Now, how do you do that? So we've adapted a concept from an organization called Infusionsoft. They're no longer there in business today. They've changed their name, actually. Forgot who they were bought by. So we didn't create this, but we love this concept. It's called life cycle marketing. So marketing, I want to think of marketing from a life cycle perspective. So, we love life cycle around Nehemiah. We do marketing life cycle, business life cycle, right? So the marketing life cycle is a 3-phase framework. It was developed by a group called Infusionsoft, so we don't claim it, but we've adopted it. Designed to transform your marketing strategy and tactics into a single self-sustaining process. And the 3 steps are these: attract, sell, and wow. Right? So I want you to think about transforming how you do marketing and sales into these three steps: transform, sell, and wow. All right. So it recognizes that marketing is not a one-time act, but a process, right? Because you're always sowing. You're always sowing. It's a process. Second, it recognizes that there are stages in engaging and closing a customer, watch this, for life. Right? You're trying to build lifelong customers, not just do one-time transactions. So let's look at it one at a time. Let's look at attract. So attract, think of it as a magnet. It's about you placing magnets around the areas where your potential target markets are. All right? So you got to first know your target, right? Because you can't put a magnet where your market is not. Right? Who's your target? Do you know who your ideal customer is? Do you know their avatar? Do you know their profile? Can you see them in your mind's eye? Right? Do you know your target? Second, attract interest. What activities are you doing? How are you sowing to ensure that you can attract these targets, can be interested in you and what you've got to offer? What are you doing? What are you doing with social media? What are you doing with direct mail? What are you doing with events? What are you doing with email communication? What are you doing with traditional media like television and radio? What are you doing? You follow me? Billboards. What are you doing? Right? Because you've got to do something in the places where these targets are, and you got to do it consistently to attract interest. For instance, right now I'm in Orlando, and I'm at a conference that we sponsor. It's a conference of bishops. And we're sponsoring this conference. This is part of our track. Why are we doing it? We have a program called Sustainable Church, where we work with churches, come alongside churches and work with them to come alongside their entrepreneurs and to help the church incorporate marketplace principles into how they do business, how they do church. And these are bishops from around the country. So here we're sponsoring. We have a booth. They're playing our video. I'm on the panel. This is part of our track, right? And then we hope to collect leads from here, right? In other words, at the end of the event, part of the success of the event is, yes, first awareness that now they know about us, but second, how many leads can we collect from the event, right? Right now on social media, we have a social media campaign going on. We're spending lots of money on the various social media. You may have seen our ad at different places, right? And maybe that's how you came to us, right? And you filled out a form. It's called a lead capture, right? It's called a lead capture, a form that it brought you into our system. Now you're in our database, and then now you got communicated this seminar, right? So a track, it's about the end result of a track is that you're able to capture the leads. These are potential prospective customers that you are going to now take to the next stage. So my question to you is, what is your strategy concerning attracting the right leads, capturing the right leads that enables you to be able to take them to the next stage? The next stage is sell. So now that you attracted the right customers, now that you've got the right prospect, you got your lead, and by the way, you should have a CRM or use Excel, whatever system you use to manage your leads, right? Because it's a system. So they've come in, now you're ready to sell. Now, not the way you think. Don't jump to make offers yet. First, educate them. What system do you have to educate your prospective customers, your leads? What system do you have that enables you to be able to convert them from lead to the next stage, or what we call prospects, from prospect to prospect qualify, from prospect qualify to prospect waiting to make a decision, and then to close one or close loss, right? Because once they've come in, they are a lead. They are in what we call a pipeline. Again, this is a seminar, not a class. So I'm sorry, I'm not showing a lot of visuals here on this thing, but pipeline. And so now they're in your pipeline, you've got to now have a system to educate them, either through email communication, through education events like this, through live physical event that you're educating through one-on-one. You got to say, because again, remember this, the better educated your leads are, the better they can make decisions about your offer, right? And part of education is not just teaching them about what you do, but also giving them value, right? Give them something that will demonstrate to them that you know what you're doing, that you can help them. Give them something unconditional that helps them. Don't just think about you. Ladies, let me use an example that's horrible, but I'm a man. I'm so sorry. This is what came to my mind right now. So I'm married, and those who are married will know what I'm talking about. And if you're not married, I hope you don't know what I'm talking about, unless you've been married before. So I like making love to my wife, okay? And there are moments where I love making is transactional. And at the end of that, and at the end of it, it doesn't feel as good. Yes, as a man, I got a transaction and I got what I wanted, right? I got what I needed, maybe, but I didn't get what I wanted, right? Because I went straight for the kill. But there are moments where, because I take my time and we make love and if I'm in romance and go through the process, right? That by the time the offer is made, by the time we consummate, right? It is what I really wanted. It is an experience. That's what you want. I'm the horrible example. Only a man would do that, right? But the point I'm making is this, is that when you get a prospective customer, when you get a lead in, what do you have in place to give them value before you make the offer, which is the next thing? And then the next question is your offer clear? Is it specific? Is it based on what they really need? Right? Because once you get to offer, it's got to be clear, specific, based on what they need. And then the close. Now, here's where Christians sometimes fall short. The close cannot be ambiguous. The close got to be, how would you like to pay for this? Right? When would you like to get started? Right? I mean, it's got to be, you got to close it. And that's when you sold something. When you've collected some money, when you signed a contract and made a deposit, when they filled that form out, when they're pushed that, whatever that is for you, that's the sale. So you've attracted, you have a system for that. You sold, you have a system for that you can track and measure. The next stage in the system is wow. Right? Is wow. It's not over. It's wow. So the wow factor is created through 3 stages. First stage is give them what you promised them. You know, and Rich, you probably can relate to this. Sometimes we spend all this time trying to sell them. We romance them. We do all this stuff that we need to do. It's kind of like, you know, when you were dating, trying to date your wife, right? You do all this stuff in the front end. And once you get her, right? Once you got the customer, and they're a customer for you, and you miss the mark. You don't give them what you promised them. You take them for granted, right? Because you got them, you got the kill. No, marketing is not over just because you got the customer. Actually, marketing goes to the next gear, because giving the customer what you promised them is a part of your marketing. You'll understand why in a minute. Once you give them what you promised them, so that's what you got to be clear. What are you promising them? When you, let's go back to it. When you sell, when you made the offer here, when you made the offer and close, what you promised them? Make sure you deliver, and make sure you have a mechanism to know if you gave them what you promised them. Second, wow them. In other words, give them a little bit more. I don't want to use that word more because that's the next thing. In other words, wow them. Give them something special. This is something they don't expect. I have a new client actually to our community, and we meet every other week. He's part of our, I think he has our growth package. And I go to his office. Now, I don't have to go to his office. We can do it virtually, but I go to his office. And I do that for a number of my clients where I can. Sometimes I'm going to town. And I tell you, the effect that this has. And he's so grateful. You know, he says, Patrice, you're making the time to come to me. Because in the day of Zoom, in the day of Google, and I mean, not just Google, go to meeting and all, right? You no longer have to do it. But I do that because it's more than just about giving them what I promised them. It's about giving them something special. It's about an experience, the wow factor. What do you do? It could be a little note, handwritten. I have bad handwriting, so I don't do that. It could be a little whatever, something extra. Something that makes them says, wow, that was awesome. What is that for your business? Every business have it different. And then once you wow them, guess what? You can offer them more. So when you think of your products and services, you got to ask yourself the question, is your product and service outlay one of those things that only one transaction, or do you have opportunities for upsell or upservice, right? What is that you have? Because I'm saying this, as you think about acquiring a customer, you want to think about a customer for life. So you want to think about the lifetime value of that customer, but also you want to think about the total, that one customer. If you can serve them in multiple ways, it's more valuable to you than multiple customers you only serve in one way, because they already trust you. Now, don't make up stuff just to make more money, but that's in your wheelhouse. That's a part of you doing what you're doing, right? So for instance, for us, we serve more through our conferences. We serve more through, if they're members, maybe training, or maybe coaching. If they're just coaching, maybe training, or maybe books, right? We have other opportunities for people to serve more. One of them also is making a donation. Many of our clients, many of our donors who help us advance our mission, our clients, some people donate more to us than they're paying product and services. That's part of the offer more. What is that for your business? And then the third piece of the wow factor is get referrals. Here's the beauty. When you are able to wow your customers and they're excited enough to refer other people to you, that minimizes your marketing costs, and that shortens the conversion time, because customers that will refer to you will convert faster than customer that you acquire yourself. through other marketing activity unless they were friends that you knew. That's the power of this model. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is this. If you want to be effective in marketing and sales, you've got to first attract. That means you got to know your target, attract interest, collect leads. Once you have those leads in your system, in your database, whatever system you've got to have a system to educate them. It could be through email communication, through seminars like this, through one-on-ones, whatever mechanism, videos, whatever mechanism that you're doing, through retargeting on social media. You got to have clear offers and make sure that they're right before you make the offer. And you got to have a clear way to close. Once you do that, give them what you promised them, right? And give them a little extra. And then when the opportunity comes, ask them for more. That means they do more business with you, and then ask them for referrals. Guys, if you put this in place, you've got a transformative marketing and sales strategy.
All right. Well, thank you, Patrice, for that great overview of marketing and sales. And by the way, if you want more transparency in marketing to your spouse, we do have a couples in business life group that Patrice and Gina lead. And so I just not heard marketing explained in that way. So a lot of exciting ways to explain things. So again, just to recap the business life cycle, make sure that you take opportunity to check out our business life cycle course. I'll share it a little bit. But again, we have discovery. You have to think and act differently at every stage. Startup, break even when you make sure that your what's going out equals what's coming in, and you're getting paid. And so make sure that. And then profitability is when you're consistently bringing in more than you're putting out as far as of what you're investing. Sustainability is your sweet spot. You want to make sure that this is where you want to either rest or launch into your next point. This is where you change from working in the business to working on the business. If you're stuck at profitability, you're still kind of like an employee. And you ask yourself, is that where you want to be? So look at sustainability. So scalability is not necessarily calling for everyone, but that's the next natural step after that. After you have everything in place, and then you can see it replicate throughout there. And then ultimately succession and exit. We want to make sure that we're thinking about each of these stages from the beginning. And so when we help people with their business plans, we help people walk through, and from discovery to succession, we have help you build a plan in place so that you know how to prepare for that succession and exit along the way. Because at each of the stages, you're building different parts of the next step. And if you miss one of those, that can help, that can shipwreck your business. And so this is why we have offer this course and coaching along with that to help you be successful all the way through to the end. So we want to see you beat the odds of like 70 to 80% of businesses failing. We want to help you beat the odds of that. So join us for that course. So we have a free tool for developing a marketing and sales. It's their marketing and sales life cycle worksheet. So that'll help you walk through that. You can go to seminarresources.nehemiahaecommunity.com, and you can find these resources here based on what he has just spoken about. And also, I want to encourage you to go to our forum discussion. So go to seminarforum.nehemiahaecommunity.com, and I want you to share your comments or questions about this forum or this seminar, and share with the community there. Again, we have nearly 5,000 people in that community worldwide, and we'd like to hear from you. So again, share your key takeaways from today's e-seminar topic, which is developing a marketing and sales plan, and then elaborate on how the topic has changed you. We'd like to know that impact. Thank you for your time, everyone. I appreciate everyone coming in here. It was great to see everyone from all around the world. Let me just close in prayer real quick. Father, thank you for this time. Thank you for blessing us with wisdom from your word. And Father, I just pray that you help us to understand how to be relational in our marketing and how to impact the kingdom through that and still make a profit, Lord, so that we can honor you and build the kingdom. And pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next time.